Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran. We got yet another update for patch 9.1. This one is going to primarily contain a lot of PvP changes for a handful of classes like Shadow Priests, as well as Demon Hunters, Pharaohs, and one small thing for a Hunter. We also have Priest new Legendary finally revealed to us. We had a data mine version of it, but now Blizzard filled in a lot of the gaps of information that we didn't have before for the Necrolord Priest, where you actually get to summon an extra pet as a Lego, which seems really exciting. There was also more data mining for the Season 2 affix of Mythic Plus for Shadowlands PTR, but however, we don't have the viable build where you actually can't test the affix just yet. Hopefully later in this week, it'll be available, and once it's up, I definitely want to run it. But it looks like there's going to be a lot of things happening with this patch, not so much in terms of class testing, but hopefully in terms of content testing. Anyway, let's get into some of the updates in today's video. The Priest Necrolord Legendary is Paladin Command. Casting Unholy Nova summons a Cackling Chemist that gains 2% additional damage and healing each time an enemy is affected by Unholy Transfusion is damaged or an ally is healed, up to 100%. I'm not sure if the numbers on the tooltip are right because my Priest is not max level, but you know what that means. I'm going to be leveling my Priest over this week, so I can show you guys some of the Priest Legendaries in terms of how they function, what the effects are, and my thoughts on them. But I love the idea of a Priest summoning a Skeletal Mage, or a Chemist in this case, as a Necrolord to help you do damage to enemies but also heal. I'm hoping if Blizzard can fine-tune this one, the Priest might actually end up in the Necrolord Covenant if I get an extra caster to kind of join me side by side in combat. Next, we have some changes to the Demon Hunter as a class. We already took a look at Chaotic Imprint. That's the honor talent where when you throw glaive, you apply a debuff on the enemy. They changed it so now it only has a 20-second duration, but is still, last time I checked, pretty RNG what kind of element debuff you gave to the enemy. Imprison got a buff where it now lasts longer in PvP combat, and with the honor talent Detainment, it increases the duration of Imprison by 1 extra second and no longer increases Imprison's cooldown, so Imprison will be used like a Druid's Cyclone to deny an enemy healing or damage, which could be really interesting for Demon Hunters with crowd control in PvP. Honor talent Unending Hatred will now generate you fury from all damage sources, not just those that remove magic, and the fury generation is increased by 50%. Then we have a lot of defensive buffs for Havoc, as well as new honor talents like Isolated Prey, which allows you I-Beam to debuff the target, making them take more damage. Your AoE stun, if used on one target, will last 1 second longer, and using Fell Rush on one target generates you a lot of resources, so if you're training down the enemy healer, they're trying to make you a little bit more deadly. Cover of Darkness honor talent got nerfed, where it only increases your radius of darkness by a little bit and duration, but the 50% dodge avoidance chance just simply got baked into darkness by itself, so you might not even need to run Cover of Darkness anymore. Demonic Origins PvP talent is a little bit better. It now only makes it so your Metamorphosis is a 20-second duration instead of a 15-second duration, so it could actually get some play. Blur currently grants you 50% dodge while active in PvP instead of whatever value it was. Iolethorus, an honor talent, has been removed, which I don't know how good Iolethorus was prior. I think it was in niche situations, but the honor talents the Demon Hunters have gotten and the changes seem to be more for defensive value and also more unique ways for you to interact with other players in PvP. We'll see just how good these are from testing, but this is an interesting development for Demon Hunters. This week, Feral Druid's got a mixed bag of honor talent changes, but I think majority of them end up being a buff. Infected Claws Slow is going to last longer. Leader of the Pack can now proc from critical strikes with spells as well, so if you end up playing in a group with casters, it does benefit from it, but only occurs every 8 seconds. Wicked Claws got a slight nerf, going from 12.5% per stack healing reduction to now 10% MS, so at most at 2 stacks you're only doing 20% healing reduction to the enemy instead of 25%, which I think still ends up being a net positive for Feral Druids prior to not having this honor talent to begin with. Savage Momentum now reduces your dash instead of Stampeding Roar, so those two abilities have been swapped in the honor talent. Freedom of the Herd reduces Stampeding Roar cooldown by a whole minute, so you end up using Stampeding Roar with an ally that maybe needs some kind of a freedom a lot more often. And King of the Jungle can stack up to 4 times with increased movement speed, since most Pharaohs are probably going to run Wicked Claws, putting up rips on everybody. In this Blue Post, Blizzard has the new auto talent changes for Hunters. However, we covered these in a previous video. But basically, Wild Kingdom summons a cunning pet for you to swap in for a short moment with whatever pet you're running, so you might have more pet diversity in PvP. Kindred Spirits on a talent will reduce the cooldown of your pet extra ability, be it Survival of the Fittest defensive, or let's say Master's Call from cunning pets. As well as Beast Within that's going to buff up your pet and make it immune to fear, giving it extra auto attack speed. For Holy Priest, we got some new changes. Holy Ward Consecration has been renamed to Sanctified Ground, and now works off of the ability Holy Ward Sanctify. When you drop down Holy Ward Sanctify in an area, that area is then blessed, and any allies within there will be able to cast spells uninterrupted. It's going to have a 10-yard radius, but only a 5-second duration. Technically, for Holy Priests in AoE situations, you could actually have a very short cooldown of Holy Word Sanctify, but in arenas, I don't really think it's going to be much longer or too much shorter. Greater Heal PvP talent is now going to have reductions with Dampening. And Spirit of the Redeemer, which is where a Holy Priest transforms into that battle res angel, it's going to be a 2-minute cooldown instead of a 3-minute cooldown, which should hopefully make it a better defensive / utility for your team going forward. Finally, we have Priest with the first on talent Megalomania, which actually gives you the talent of Surrender to Madness, which allows you to use Surrender to Madness in PvP, where you become this basically uninterrupted god, able to run around, cast spells on the move, and generate a lot more insanity. But instead of killing you at the end of the ability, it'll only bring you down to 35% health. On a 1.5 minute cooldown, this could be a huge cooldown for Shadow Priest to just blast enemies, and with the 1.5 minute CD, it lines up really well with the rest of your abilities. Then you have Void Volley, which is an interesting on a talent. When you activate your Void form, once you use your Void Eruption, you'll just start spawning these massive Void crashes all around you. These Void crashes seem to be completely random where they drop, and I could totally see them Priest using it, like running on top of an enemy team, using Void Eruption in the middle of the enemy team like in an RPG, and just blasting them, just erupting in the middle of the enemy team like a nuke. I don't really know how good this will be, like, because again, the Void Volley itself is completely random where it lands, but if, let's say, an enemy is running away from the Priest and it just happens to hit them with it, I think that could be really cool. I also wonder if Priest will basically become the new Minesweeper. Look at for rogues. If they know if a rogue is like in an area somewhere, they'll just Void Erupt and have one of these volleys get a rogue out from stealth way in the corner of a map or something. A fantastic looking ability, but it makes me wonder just how good is this going to be. Then we also have Siphon, which is getting a bit of a buff. Instead of going from 10 health, which is killable in a global, instead it will have 10% of Priest's maximum health. I don't think it's going to make him completely like immune and invincible. Players are still going to be able to snipe out Siphons, but at least it will take more than just a single global or even a sneeze in the direction to take down a Siphon. And that's going to be all the updates we have so far. Most likely we're going to have even more updates as Blizzard is planning more raid testing with Sylvanas fight on Heroic, which I definitely want to test out and show you guys ASAP. There also has been more, as I said earlier, data mining for the seasonal affix stuff, so Blizzard releases that later in the week. I cannot wait to jump onto PTR and try the new seasonal affix as well. Hopefully we'll see even more updates tomorrow and throughout this week, but if this is all we have so far, this has been the update. Thank you guys so much for watching. Cannot wait to get my Priest up and running, show you guys some of the new legendaries, and all these new auto talents looking kind of cool. You let me know in the comments which one do you think is the coolest. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.